Hi everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. I'm here today. I had a couple of minutes free, so I thought I would come on here and show you what I'm cooking for supper today. Stuffed chicken breasts, probably one of the most popular meals at weddings in Newfoundland. We stuff them with like a traditional Newfoundland dressing. And yeah, I'm just going to show you how to make it. So, in my bowl, I always save my homemade bread ends. We don't eat them when they get, really stale. So then I'll just pop them all in the freezer. And then when it's time to make dressing, I just, basically tear it apart with my hands until it's, nice and broken apart. A lot of people say they can't eat dressing. They get heartburn from dressing. I don't know how many of you have actually looked at the back of a bag of breadcrumbs. There's about 1 billion ingredients in there. Some of them you can't even pronounce. I'm assuming that's where the heartburn's coming from, because no matter who eats my dressing, they don't get heartburn, and I'm sure it's from the homemade breadcrumbs. Honestly, haven't had an issue at all. So, make sure you're reading your ingredients. You never know what you're putting into your body. So this was probably like 3, I guess the same size as the heel, we call it here in Newfoundland, the end of the bread. My mother would perish if she knew I was throwing that out or not eating it. That's her favorite part of the bread, especially toasted or with peanut butter. So basically what you're going to do is just break up your breadcrumbs. And the bread should be stale or it won't crumble. The other thing with this, like, you can absolutely go ahead and use, I don't know, old hamburger rolls, any kind of old bread rolls, I don't know, anything on hand that would crumble like so. And you can see it's pretty dry, pretty crumbly. So what I did next was, well, actually before I did this, I took a very small onion and I chopped it very small, because I don't like, when I have dressing and I get a big piece of onion, as you guys know, I hate onions. Like the texture, it just gets me. So, as you can see, hopefully, I cut mine rather small, and then I sauteed them in, I'm thinking it was about 4 tablespoonfuls of real butter. A lot of people don't like to use real butter because they say it makes the dressing wet. The key to using real butter in your dressing is you have to saute the onions with the butter on the stove first. What that does is it gets rid of a lot of excess moisture, as you know, that's in butter and in onion. So saute them out first, and then go ahead. When they're cut small like this, I can actually eat a lot of onion in there. I love the flavor. If you really don't want to use onion, you can go ahead and use like some onion powder or just some dried onion. I don't have it out here, but Epicure has a nice 3 onion. You can absolutely put that in there. So basically I just got my butter and onions in here now, mixed up with my breadcrumbs. To this, I'm going to add Mount Sio Savory. I would show you my jar, but I'm a bit shameful. It's so old, the label's torn off. Anyhow, I don't have a ton left. I'm thinking I got about 2.5, 3 tablespoons, which should be plenty. I only have 4 chicken breasts. So you can see how it looks. And like Nanny always said, Nanny would always take the savory in her hands and she would rub it and rub it and rub it. And she said anytime when you're using savory or dried herbs in recipes, that you should rub them in, because what it does is it releases some of the flavors and the oils and makes it a little bit more fragrant for when you're cooking. So I just, put them between my 2 hands. And that was my Nanny Warford, God rest her soul. She was the sweetest little lady ever, honestly. I remember her perming my hair when her hands were like bleeding from doing other people's perms, and she wasn't even a hairstylist. So in there went about my 2 or 3 tablespoons. You can eyeball it. Some people like their dressing a little darker, some like it a little lighter. If you don't have Mount Zion Savory, I'm sorry, it's not going to taste the same. You can substitute summer savory, which is the closest, and next to that would be a bit of sage, but sage has a really kind of smoky flavor for me. It's really, really not the same as Mount Zion Farm Savory, and they grow and package it right here in Newfoundland. So to that, I'm going to add salt and pepper, and that would be your traditional, I guess, Newfoundland style dressing. I'm not sure how much salt, again, to taste. This is this is white pepper. I hope I don't sneeze on you again. I'll just put a little bit in here for now. I remember when I was at Nicole Hyde's wedding, they had stuffed chicken breasts served, and I don't know what it was, but there was an awful lot of pepper in the stuffing, but it was delicious. I loved it, and ever since I've been adding more pepper into my stuffing as well. So yeah, yay for pepper. Now, another thing you can use, totally optional, I like to add a little tiny bit, is chicken bouillon. I'm just using an Epicure one. You can use whichever one you want. I do find the Epicure one a little higher quality. And no, again, I don't sell Epicure, but I do know a few girls that do, and I can absolutely point you in their direction. Yeah, so now that I got that kind of in there, I'm actually going to put my hands in here now and just to make sure that it's all combined, because again, I don't want to get a big piece of onion or I don't know, salt or something not mixed properly in my mouth. So here we go. This here, it's beautiful, traditional Newfoundland stuffing, dressing, whatever you want to call it. We don't add apples and different things to our stuffing. That's why it's Newfoundland style, I guess. Sometimes I will actually add a couple of dried cranberries, and that's, you know, that's pretty nice in there for a change, just if you want to mix it up. So now I'm setting that aside, and I already did a little tiny bit of the work because I didn't want to make a big noise in your ears. So what I have here is a chicken breast, and I lightly pounded it just a tiny bit before I came on here, because again, I don't want to hurt your ears. So what I did was I took this is a marble rolling pin. It's super heavy. So I put a piece of plastic down on a cutting board. I placed my clean chicken breast on top of that. I placed another piece of plastic on top of that. And then what I did was go tap, tap, tap on top of the chicken breast. And all that does is kind of smooths it out a little bit and gives you a bit of a surface to put the stuffing in and roll it up. Now, I think we're pretty good, because you don't want to smash it so that it's super, super, super thinned out, because then the stuffing layer and the chicken, it just gets too thin. So, I hate working with raw chicken. I frightened it out of salmonella. Anyhow, I do have a bowl of water underneath here that I'm going to probably be washing my hands in between. Oh yeah, and before I do that, I'll show you, I have a baking dish. I just have some olive oil in the bottom here, just so it doesn't stick on. I normally would put a little rack in here and just a drop of water for some gravy afterwards, but I actually have some leftover gravy saved, so I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to bake it right on the sheet. Get this out of your way. Now, I'm going to take this chicken breast and I'm going to flip it around so that, leave it on the plastic, it makes it a little easier on you. Flip it around so that you can actually see the nice part on the outside. Now, that's just a little extra piece of chicken. I'm just going to lay it on there. So basically we're going to take a handful of stuffing, and we're going to kind of press it together. And we're going to press it right on top of the chicken breast, like so. Now, what I like to do is roll that thin, and I kind of like to keep them on the long side because they look a little nicer. So basically what I'm going to do is just take my hands, and sometimes, see, the plastic can actually assist you a little tiny bit. And we're going to roll the chicken breast over itself. Keep rolling. Be patient with yourself. Now, it looks something like this. What I'm going to do now is wash my hands because I need a toothpick. Hold on. One of these days I'll have it all up and running. You'll see. So I'm actually going to lay a few out now. A couple of toothpicks. And I'm going to kind of put it through the end and out through the other side, and this kind of holds everything together. I see I have a little piece of that white stringy thing in there. Normally I would cut that out, but I don't have a knife handy. Anyhow, I'm just going to poke it through the other side again. Make sure you take your toothpicks out before you serve, and make sure if you're putting 2 or 3 that you make note of that in your head, whether it's a mental note or what, but yeah, it's important. So we're going to pick up our chicken breast now. This one could almost use another toothpick, but I'm not going to, and I'm just going to lay that right in my dish, like so. Now, I need to get my hair out of my mouth. I don't know what the heck. I've got a hairband and everything on, but oh well. At least I'm the one eating it. There. Now, I have 3 more chicken breasts here. And I'm actually going to take these up. One of these was a little bit frozen. It's kind of stuck on the other one. There we go. There we are. So again, ugly side up. And take your stuffing and press it into a ball. And I'll actually turn this one around so you can kind of see how it would look stuffed the other way. Make sure you got no bald spots or whatever little holes in there. And you put your stuffing there. And you can actually leave a little bit of chicken. That helps roll it up a little bit. Because when there's too much stuffing, they're harder to roll. But you do want to have enough stuffing that you're tasting the stuffing with the chicken when you do go to eat it. Now, I am again using my plastic to help me kind of just get the edge up. And then we're going to rolling down the river. Yes, I still love Tina Turner. I finished her biography book after. It was really, really, really good. The movie was even better, I would imagine. And this one, I'm actually going to put 3 in because I'm a bit, not nervous, but I think the inside one is not going to hold together because this one's a bit big. So, now, I'm going to pick that one up. And it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of savory or dressing or anything on the outside, because that just kind of, they look really nice when they're done. So, as you can see, there's quite a bit of dressing and stuff on here. Again, not a problem. So, so when you pound really hard, this is what happens. You kind of get a little tear in there, and that was totally my fault. I was pounding a little bit too hard, and then when I did, the rolling pin kind of slipped, and then, there's the other piece. But, not to worry, we can absolutely stick that in there too. Now, press. We'll see how this one's going to work out. I'm just going to, I think I'm going to switch right around this way and see if I can roll that ugly part down to the bottom. I'm sure there's going to be no ugly parts when they're all done. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely delicious. Yeah, I can see this one's falling apart a tiny bit. So when that happens, just like keep your hand on it and take your toothpick and push it right in there. And again, right there. Now, if you didn't want to go through all this rolling and stuff, and it was just like, say, I don't know, the two of you for supper, like it is with us here tonight, you can absolutely lay down a chicken breast, like so, and then what you can do is put your stuffing on there, and then you can take another chicken breast and put it on top of there, and then bake it in the oven, and then you can kind of slice it up that way. It makes it a little easier for you, but these look really pretty this way, in my opinion. Yeah. Last little bit of dressing for the chicken breast, but I'm actually overstuffing this one because I have some stuffing left, and you all know how I hate wastage. So here we go with the plastic, just to get that little bit up first, and roll and roll and roll down that roll that chicken breast. Now this one's looking much prettier. Practice makes perfect every time. Okay, so here, and I'm going to pick that up and put that in my tray. Now, how pretty are those? Very, I must say. Now, I need to wash my hands again. And what I'm going to do now is kind of just push this out of my way and your way, and my plate as well. And I'm going to bring this closer to me now. And what we need to do now is kind of just season them a little bit. I'm just going to stretch over here and grab my olive oil. One sec. Yeah, so what I like to do is take a little olive oil and just kind of drizzle it over the top. And then I'm using Teresa. It's organic olive oil that I buy from Costco. It's wonderful. I should say my sister buys from me. I have my very own personal shopper. She's awesome. And so now, more salt, more pepper, and you can be absolutely done. Now, but I actually, a little bit of that one. So I like to add, this is just a black pepper and turmeric from Epicure. Turmeric is so good for you and excellent for decreasing inflammation and stuff in the body. So I actually add this to almost all my recipes, just because. And it's cool, and you can actually see that it's like fresh ground turmeric in there. I probably shouldn't be doing that because, again, I don't sell Epicure. And this is an oven roast Epicure. I just find them really convenient because they got all the herbs and stuff. Like, look at that. It's already mixed. So, yeah, put a little bit of that in there. And this is just a roast, so you can put that on chicken or beef or whatever. And then all I'm going to do now, I think, is add a tiny bit of poultry seasoning, and I think it's mostly thyme and sage. Add a high, again, like Jamie Oliver. Anytime you're using anything that's really powdery, do it up high, or you're just going to get a big blob of it right there, and it's not going to be pleasant. And a little bit of paprika. Oops. This paprika don't want to cooperate today. Now, what I'm going to do here now is, I normally would bake these right now, but we're going to have a later supper tonight. So I'm going to lay these in the refrigerator. You could see how they look. So these are going to go in at about 375 or 400 for about 40-45 minutes. And yeah, then you're done. So whether you have leftover gravy or you want to make some gravy from scratch, I've got a nice video on there somewhere, how to make Newfoundland style gravy. If you can't find it, check it out on YouTube. And yeah, I'm not sure if I thanked Ann Dorian or not. That's a lady on my Facebook group, and she shared my group today, and I have so many new members. We're almost at 1,000, and I'm super grateful to have wonderful friends like her and you too. Okay, I hope you're having the most beautiful day once again, and yeah, we'll talk to you really soon. Okay, bye.